Greetings. An often discussed topic with me, often when I'm being recommended fiction and I review the stories I am recommended, eventually the topic becomes what makes a good story. This generally happens because of my harsh critique of whatever medium I am provided, be that TV shows, be that comics or animation or books. Regardless of what it is, I always have a certain standard that people seem to not get, generally, because I can praise things that people would consider bad, and I would condemn things that people are in love with. You can say that this video is like a callback to all the people coming from Luis's channel, Luis Senpai, and my small involvement in the anime community in the form of the anime law live stream. So often there I was recommended stuff and I would bash it, and people would think I'm a troll in my taste. I.e., I hate things because I hate them, or because hating them would generate a certain flair. And while that may not be entirely false, I never gave out an opinion that I did not believe in. So it all comes back to this: what makes a good story? What differentiates a good story from a bad story? Generally, in my case, I always try and look for fiction that knows what it is. So that's element number one. What do I mean by this? There are a lot of stories that start off with an identity crisis, not knowing what it really wants, what it really tries to get out of this. And it's evident in many stories. I won't bother you a lot with examples. Maybe I'll make a more coherent video in the future with more in-depth examples, but for now I'm just going to throw ideas out there and see just to collect my thoughts. And a story has to know what it is, i.e. what it wants to be from the beginning. A story that knows what it is from beginning to end will be a good story, mainly. Because regardless of how badly it was executed, if it maintains its identity, then there is a consistent theme that you can look for in the entire thing. And that's often missed, especially in Japanese products. I would give the example of the Japanese comic or manga Bleach, where it started off trying to be somewhat deep and mysterious with more dramatic feel to it, then went to mindless sword fighting towards the middle, and God knows what after, because I did not continue reading it, but it wanted something, and as time passed, it changed to another as things got popular, which is very apparent in more Japanese products and TV shows in the West. TV shows in the West, for example, start off with an idea like Supernatural or something. The series explodes more than expected, and when it was supposed to end at season 5, for example, now the fame makes it continue on further seasons, and the show just looks for anything to keep the characters moving. So praise a show that knows what it is. From the beginning to end, it's about this. And the second this is over is when the series ends. And if we're going to renew it, we're going to renew it with a new theme and newer characters, like an entire new thing. So it's not just, here are the characters everybody loved. Let's add some new tropes to it and see what happens. A good example for a show that is not magically great in plot and whatever, but knows what it is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you look at the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you look at it, it's not that great of a plot. They're sort of working with what they have. I would praise them just for the fact that they were able to actually make something watchable from the content they had. That shows the creativity of the writers. But the thing that makes it really good, it's about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. being the organization trying to maintain order in the supernatural world. And their struggles within themselves and outside, and it's a great show, great watch. Not the greatest of plots, but it knows what it is. Praise it for what it is. When in comparison, I would look for I don't know. I'm looking for Western examples. I don't want to anger the Japanese too much, but the Japanese has a theme of just like internally destroying their own plots, mainly because they don't have good writers, nor do they hire good writers. They just go with what's popular, and so that's a good example of a series that knows what it is. That's element number one. Element number two. Consistency and lack of laziness. And I put these two together for a reason. In lots of stories, plot points get introduced, then dismissed, or not expanded upon. And they're never returned to. And it's sort of lazy writing. You introduce this, you realize it doesn't work, so you don't resolve it. Or you introduce a plot point and you forget about it, you no longer resolve it. Or you introduce a character and then they disappear after, and you're like, okay, what about this guy? Wasn't he relevant? It happens in Dragon Ball a lot. It happens in... I'm looking for a good example. In Japanese, I don't have any, but in Vikings, if you watch the TV show Vikings, there are a lot of plot points that could be expanded upon that are just dismissed for whatever reason, which is a bit of lazy writing, and it destroys the consistency of the plot. A great show that managed to make a fully consistent portray, as I like to put it, is Breaking Bad, where there wasn't a single character in that show that didn't have his plot resolved towards the end. And while there are some shakiness here and there, like 95% of the show was beautifully constructed. Even though it was complex and going all about, it knew what it was, and it was consistent. The writing was not lazy. They never pushed too much forward or too much back. My only complaint with Breaking Bad is probably that they could have mixed season 5 and 4 and made one season that's way more enjoyable, but otherwise it's wonderfully constructed. These two elements, if they exist in a story, for me, that should be the bare minimum of an excellent story. If I'm going to give real critique to a show, it needs to have these two things. If it doesn't, then I shut my brain off when I watch it. Like a Marvel movie, You don't think in a Marvel movie. You shut your brain off and you enjoy the show. Naruto, One Piece, these Japanese products. If you're gonna think, you're gonna hurt your head and you're gonna start getting angry. Shut your brain, enjoy the show. And that's how I watch them. So I always put a line, made to critique, made not to critique. And if a show is made not to critique, i.e. something like Vikings, something like One Piece, Berserk, arguably, maybe Berserk can be thrown up. Actually, Berserk can be thrown up. Bleach, Supernatural, from, I don't know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I don't know, I watched so many things. Anything that does not have these two elements, i.e. it knows what it is, and it has a consistent, not lazy written plot, I can throw into the critique barrier. I can, as a storyteller, I can watch the coherence of the storytelling, and I will critique the techniques, and I will critique the whatever. Anything below that, I shut my brain, I will watch and enjoy it. And the reason for this is mainly because not all art pieces are meant to be critiqued. Not everything in the world has to be judged. Sometimes you watch something because you watch it. Think of a movie like Mad Max. You'd never judge the movie Mad Max by the plot. You would judge it by the spectacle, i.e. the critiques would come, from this technique or that visual technique or this visual technique and how this was applied and how that applied and how it was all put together in this beautiful thing. The plot here was the tool to transition from shot to shot, nothing else. But you look for like something like very well made, like Breaking Bad, for example. I'll keep coming to that. Or even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you can actually critique the plots, what they chose to do, what they chose not to do, because the writing is not lazy and it knows what it is, and you can definitely jump into something that is like that. When in reality, anything that's lazily written or does not know what it is will eventually have too many elements poured into it that makes you not see the writer in it, not see you can see agendas, you can see things that alter the plot just because. I always make these two distinctions. Anything that's below the critique list, I shut my brain off until somebody tells me that it's amazing and I should critique it, and then they get angry at me when I start critiquing it. Reality is, any show that's below that will get butchered, and heavily butchered. That's why I shut my brain off. Like, the nitpicking becomes too great because there's so much to nitpick. If I'm going to focus, it's going to be done. I'm going to ruin the show for myself and the people around me. Only when it passes that barrier can I start giving critiques. So, again, for me, and maybe I'll expand upon this in the future, a good story has two main elements. It knows what it is, and it is consistent. And, yeah, pretty much. Tell me what you think in the